Hi guys, Amber Craft, your local writer here. Now today I want to talk about attributions. That is the he said, she said type things at the end of dialogue. Now this is something that people often don't think about, and it's just read over until they actually go missing. And then you wonder, why didn't I think how important they were? Without attributions, you don't actually know who's speaking. You can have an argument back and forth and not know whether it's between 2 people, 4 people, or multiple characters in a person's head. Now the argument has always been, do you only use said and ask, or do you throw in descriptions like growled, sneezed, laughed, etc.? The reason is because some people just don't want to read something that has been said a million times, like said. When you're having a conversation with someone, you laugh, you cry, you sneeze, you do things that are descriptive, and that's where the argument comes from. Now, while nobody likes being a broken record, there is absolutely nothing that says you have to use more than 2 or 3 words at the end of dialogue. A lot of the times when you try not to be repetitive, you also get a little too creative and make up words or come up with words in the dictionary or thesaurus that just lose your reader. And when you lose them, you actually harm your reader's experience and actually harm their thoughts of you as an author. This is one of those things where you have to actually decide what type of writer you want to be and be specific and be constant about it. If you're concerned about not breaking every rule out there, then you're almost always going to fail to engage your reader and hook them and keep them. Now this is also one of those things where most of the people that hate using anything other than said are also the people that hate the ly adverbs. And then they end up using just a lot of eds instead. This is because they are so against repetition that they try to get creative. Now, don't get me wrong. I have a huge respect for all the rules in writing and for all the authors that can actually stick to most of them and keep their audience. But in the end, it's your novel. It is your name on that novel, even if you're using a pen name. This means that it's your choice. It is your choice whether you want to use said and not be descriptive, or it is your choice whether you want to break up the monotony and have some say said and some with descriptions. It is also your choice to try to break up the monotony that you get too creative and you start pulling out a thesaurus, which I never advise. To try to break up the monotony, use sentence breaks. Have a little bit of action tell what's going on as the person's talking. That's always a nice way to break up the monotony without getting too creative. This means you aren't using those pesky attributions or the dreaded ly adverbs or having ed verbs take over instead. Instead of saying, yes, he came right up and spoke to me, you could say, yes, Ashley sat down on the sofa across from her friend. He did come and speak to me. This way, you'll know who's talking, but the story is actually progressing without you having to use any of those pesky things. That way, your story is progressing without using any repetition or rule breaking. Now personally, I agree that said is very often invisible and people look over it and it's not really that big of a deal. But I also use description to mix it up a little bit. The bottom line is this with any writing, and I've said it time and time again. You need to decide who you are as a writer and what rules you're going to follow and which ones you're going to break. With self-publishing, you're going to have more freedom, but there are still going to be some rules you want to follow, and there are some you can throw out the window. But even with self-publishing, you might find some editors that are different from you that you may mesh well with, but have different views on what rules should be followed and which ones shouldn't. If you're thinking about going the traditional route, you need to see what rules are breakable and which rules are going to hurt you getting an agent if you break them. You also need to find out what each agent's pet peeve is and publisher's pet peeve so that you don't put yourself on the wrong foot with them. But above all else, you've got to stay true to who you are. As a writer, as an author, it is your name on that book. Write your first draft without thinking about any rules. If you've done your research, you know what rules are worth breaking and which ones are absolute concrete things you don't want to break. But no matter what, worry about it when you edit. Let other people help you find the rules that you shouldn't break. That's all I've got today on attributions and the he said, she said debate. If you have any questions or if you have any books you'd like me to review, make sure you leave a comment, let me know, and tell me what you prefer. Do you prefer the said, or do you prefer more descriptive words? Do you like line breaks, or do you hate them? What do you like as a reader, and what do you use as an author? Alright guys, till next video, I will talk to you guys later. Have a great day. Happy writing. Bye. You're killing me, Smalls! You're killing me! What? That just made me feel so old.